back on another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. My name is Jonathan Howe, and we are looking ahead at a great episode here, brought to you by Vansicle Pet Value in Lundy's Lane. Pet Value, your choice for the best toys, food, and accessories for your four-legged best friends. And you can also grab your race day tickets for Merrittville Speedway ahead of Saturday nights by visiting them as well. I can't wait to get back to Merrittville. We got rained out this week, so there wasn't a lot to talk about in terms of action from there, an action that I actually got out to the racetrack for. But I know what you're thinking, Jonathan. There was still lots of racing last weekend. There certainly was. So we'll jump into a bit of a casual race report this week, and we'll start with Ohsweken Speedway's results, where Mike Bowman got back in the win column in the 360 sprint car. Winning also was Ryan Beagle, Trevor DeBoer, Dave Small, and Ryan Ferry all found wins. Start with the Cool Kids Core Pack 360 sprint cars, where Mike Bowman started out in fourth and was able to hold off Ryan Turner, Liam Martin, Corey Turner, and Dylan Westbrook with a fifth place finish after starting out in 16th. Westbrook finally drops one at Ohsweken, and Mike Bowman back in victory lane. Could be changing of the tides there in the 360s. We'll see how that plays out the rest of the season. The Strickland Crate Sprint Cars went to Brett Stratford. He picked up the win ahead of Jesse Costa. Brent Beglow up on the podium as well. After starting 20th, finished third. Good run for the 71 in the crates. Sheldon Bender goes from second place back to fourth, and the 88 of Lance Erskine rounds out your top five in the crate sprints there. Over in the Middleport Mechanical Thunderstocks, it was Ryan Beagle starting 18th to score the win in just 20 laps, passing by Kyle Wirt, who was 17th on the grid, and Dave Bailey, who started in 14th, finished third. Tim Phelan and Mike Klazinga round out your top five from the Thunderstocks there. Tim DeBoer picks up the win in the HRW Automotive Mini Stocks after starting in 8th spot. He won ahead of Tristan De Silva, Nick Erskine, Mason Anderson, and the 66X of Martin Schroeder. And the vintage cars were also welcome to Ohsweken Speedway last Friday, June 28th. That's where Dave Small picked up the win in the A-Main ahead of Doug Gordon. Ryan Ferry was third in that one. Jip Ortiz and Tim Natalino round out your top five in the A-Main for the vintage cars there. Ohsweken Speedway is back in action tonight with the Stricklands and Hunsingers Plumbing Presents Drive Safe, Ride Safe, Race Safe Bike Night. 360s, Crate Sprints, Thunderstocks, and Mini Stocks, the four core classes, are in action this Friday for Ohsweken Speedway. Now, we'll shift gears to another Friday night race spot, Ransomville Speedway. I had a chance to call some kart racing there on Thursday. It was a blast. Really enjoyed that one. But Friday night was a good one as well, as the BRP Big Block Modified Tour rolled through town with the Mini Sportsman and Novice Sportsman also on the card. We'll start with the Novice Sportsman. Nigel Pendakoski of Niagara Falls picks up yet another win on the other side of the ditch in that class. And a good run for the Niagara Falls, Ontario native, the only Canadian in the field for that one. Over in the Sterling Lubricants Sportsman, a little bit of a change at the top, as it wasn't Cody McPherson picking up the win. It was James Harbison grabbing the win in the Sportsman. McPherson would finish fourth after starting 12th, and Curtis Friesen started third and finished fifth for another strong top five run in that 68 car. Good on Curtis Friesen representing on the other side of the ditch. And in the big block series, it was Matt Williamson picking up the win ahead of Chad Brockman, Eric Rudolph, Gary Lindbergh, and Ryan Susi. Other Canadians in the field in this one, Dalton Slack came home with a 7th place finish. Nelson Mason was able to crack the top 10, finishing in 9th. Tyler Willard started in the 14th spot, dropped one to finish 15th in the field. Trevor Wright started 23rd, picked up a couple spots, and was able to finish 21st. And Dave Flanagan Jr., after starting 22nd, finished in 23rd position. Don't get a chance to talk a lot about the BRP Big Block Series, but in case you're wondering, I'm looking at the points here updated after Ransomville, and Eric Rudolph sits atop of the table right now. Highest ranking Canadian, Dalton Slack's 3RS sits 6th in points, just about 40 points, just under 40 points back of Rudolph for the lead there. Tyler Willard is in 7th right behind him. Those two seem to be the ones that are chasing this one regularly, as Matt Williamson sits in 18th spot with 75 points, I think, which is what he earned for that win the other night. If you want to keep up with the BRP Modified Tour, you can just search themodifiedtour.com for the schedule and for all points and winning related news there. And for Ransomville Speedway, they are back in action again tonight. They've got fireworks for the July 4th celebration. Street stocks, minis, sportsman, novice, and the 358s all in action tonight for July 5th at Ransomville Speedway. Like I said, no action for us on Saturday night at Merrittville Speedway. We're back in action with Hot Tub Heaven giveaway night. Going to be a double feature night all night long. But Sunday, we had the All Canadian. That's right. Humberstone Speedway, the first of the final five. And it was presented by Sterling Lubricants. Sportsman started first on the card here. We'll start with them, I should say. Dirt Car Sportsman. Cody McPherson picks up the win ahead of Adam Leslie, Brett Senek, Matteo Panante, and Tyler Pachalski. That was your top five in that one. It was a Western region event for the Dirt Car Tour, as was the Friday night at Ransomville Speedway with Cody McPherson's performance on the Sunday night. He clinches the win there, and it picked up his 20th record-breaking win for him to breaks the tie with Brad Rouse for most sportsman wins on the Dirt Car Tour. We'll talk about that with Cody coming up later on the show. Northeast Late Model Alliance were also in action. That's where Chad Homan picked up the win ahead of David Pangrazio, Stan Zankin, Steve Baldwin, and Rob Lettingham. GR Enviro Rail Thunder Stocks. Donnie Lampman picks up the win there ahead of Tyler French, Pete Reed, Kyle Pellrine, and Spencer Smolders. We saw Dad Jim Lampman pick up a win already this year over at Merrittville. Good to see Donnie following in the footsteps and getting back in victory lane in the metric car. Bosch Car Services Mini Stocks. Spencer Riddle picks up the win ahead of Randy Always, Ray Sorenzia, Colton Everingham, and Hannah Rothwell with a good comeback effort to finish in the top five after some rough luck over on Saturday nights. Good that she was able to get a great run. This one, of course, marred by that wreck. I'm sure you saw it on social media where the dust kind of kicked up. There was a scramble, multiple cars piling up, and Nick Erskine seemed to be getting the worst ride of it. And I believe Doug Erskine also involved in that one as well. It was not fun. Sam Iftati got a pretty good chunk of that one too. Hopefully all drivers are okay and their race cars are repairable at the least, and we'll see them back out this weekend. In the Tender Cut meets Mod Lights, it was Tyler Winger picking up the win ahead of Josh Slider, Brent Bigelow, Jamie Gilbert, and RJ Pitts. And the vintage cars also in action. It was Stan Zankin winning that one ahead of Bill Perfada, Doug Gordon, Dean Montrell, and Conrad Baker from the Port Colborne-based Humberstone Speedway, as now there are just 4 dates left on the calendar for the Humberstone Speedway, and it pains me to say that, but they'll be back in action August 25th for the Pete Costco Memorial, featuring 358 modifieds, Thunder Stocks, Mini Stocks, Mod Lights, vintage cars, and the Race of Champions Sportsman Series. So there is some time before the next of the Final 5 for Humberstone. Again, that's happening August 25th. We talked about one big block series. Let's move on to another. It's the Super Dirt Car Series, which I was going to record this podcast a little bit earlier in the week. I think I did my interview with Cody back on Wednesday, and then I realized that they were racing Thursday night, and I was like, well, maybe I can wake up Friday morning and tackle the results and share them with you. So that's what we're doing right now. Matt Williamson picks up the win after starting 4th ahead of Matt Shepard. Jimmy Phelps also on the podium in that one. Peter Brinton, Anthony Perego round out your top 5. I don't want to say tough night for Anthony Prego, but he did start on the pole. And as he was chasing that championship early in the season, you would have liked to see him stay up there to get maximum amount of points. Dalton Slack started 12th, ended up finishing in 14th in that one. Felix Waugh started 10th, dropped to 20th in this one as well. But looking over at the Super Dirt Car Series driver standings now, it's Matt Williamson ahead of Shepard by 15 points. We're shaping up for another great Matt-on-Matt duel for the Super Dirt Car Series title this season. And so far it is the 88 who's, instead of chasing it like usual, his 3 wins have him at the top of the board. And he has finished no worse than 10th in the 5 starts that have counted 4 points this season thus far. It's been really a great start to the year for that 88 crew, and Matt Williamson. We'll have to keep an eye on him and how he can continue to pace the field there. Like I say, Anthony Perego was out in front early in this one. He's still 19 points back, so don't count him out. Peter Britton sits in 4th and Jimmy Phelps 5th. Top five are all within 40 points of each other. So it's a tight battle at the top of the table, which is pretty exciting stuff, I would say, for the Super Dirt Car Series, and gives you a reason to keep on paying attention. Which, if you're looking to do that, the next race coming up relatively quick, Tuesday, July 9th, the Natural 77 honoring Dale Plank from Thunder Mountain. That happening again next Tuesday here or over in at Thunder Mountain Speedway in New York. We'll touch on a couple features in the world of big-time sprint car racing, including the two events that happened over at Lucas Oil Speedway for the High Limit Series. Tyler Courtney picks up the win on the first of two nights. That was back on the 28th of June. Ahead of Brad Sweet, James McFadden, Tanner Thorson, and Cy Lynch, who started on pole, fell back to fifth in the 42 ride, but still a good ride for the Cowansville, Pennsylvania native. And on the Saturday night, the inaugural Diamond Classic was shortened due to rain and postponed, unfortunately, for that one. No announcement yet, but it is confirmed that series and track officials are actively searching for a makeup date to get the rest of the racing action in to complete that doubleheader that was supposed to happen at Lucas Oil in Missouri. Weather affected the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. They only got one show in. It was on the 29th, and Logan Schuhart led all 30 laps from the pole to pick up the win ahead of Sheldon Hodenshield and David Gravel. Donnie Schatz finished fourth, and Carson Macedo finished in the fifth spot. Good run for Donnie Schatz, who started out in 10th, picked up 6 spots to get his way up to fourth in this one. Still impressive at this point in his career is Donnie Schatz. And looking over at the driver points in both series, we'll start with the high limits before I get too far away from that. Brad Sweet is still up on Tyler Courtney, Brent Marks, Corey Day, and Rico Abreu. While the World of Outlaws see David Gravel still leading the way there ahead of by almost 60 points, 58 points total ahead of Donnie Schatz. Carson Macedo rides in third in the championship. Gio Selzy is fourth, and Michael Kofoid rounds out your top five. Bet everybody chasing that 2 car. David Gravel off to, you know what? I'm going to take blame for it. I called him out at the start of the year. I thought, oh, this is Gravel's tour to run away with. The field is open. He can have a bunch of wins, all that sort of stuff. And the statistics have really started to pile up for him. 9 wins, 22 top fives, and 31 starts, 27 top tens in total for the Watertown, Connecticut native David Gravel. It's been an impressive run for that guy in the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. That'll do it for the race report this week. I mentioned it. We have a great interview coming up with Cody McPherson. It was great to talk to him. The first time we've talked since back in 2022. So season 1 of the podcast. May have slid in like a quick trackside interview here or there or something. But yeah, it was great to sit down, catch up, because he has been basically on a tear and winning everything there is to win since the last time we talked. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing that interview with you guys coming up in just a little while. Not that I want to pump tires or try to sell you on anything, but this is a good weekend if you've been thinking about coming out to Merrittville Speedway at all this year. Double feature night for all divisions. We've got all the usual suspects: the commercial auto electric 358 modifieds, the dirt car sportsman representing Semin Expresso and Baron Roofing, Hoosier Stocks, Rona Deutsch mod lights, and the Van Sickle Pet Valley PV on the lane 4 cylinders, all running double features, no heat racing. We're just going to send them. It's going to be a good time. And we're giving away a hot tub. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Ultimately, though, I just think it presents a unique night. You're not going to see a double feature night too often, if ever. I think this might be, dare I say, the first time in my announcing career that we've had a double feature night for all divisions. So I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a blast. I didn't actually get out to Humberstone Speedway on Sunday night. I was stateside working on my go-kart program with Scott Just, and we're getting that off the ground and hopefully going to make some starts towards the end of the season here. So I know that there was some drama with the track setup, the amount of dust, the levels of dust. I actually had a good chance to talk about that with Cody McPherson. He kind of laid it out for me in a pretty fair and even way, I would say. ultimately, I think the rain, we had a significant amount of rain the day before, and that always wreaks havoc on a track because it's like, yeah, you can use that to water the track basically, but there's still a bunch of moisture in there, and then it can evaporate out. It can create all kinds of problems, right? So, um, tough to see it, but I know that Terry will probably figure it out for the rest of the year, and we'll get some decent shows, especially for earlier in the night. By all accounts, the late models kind of really blew off the surface, so the sportsman visibility was not nearly as bad as what some of the Hoosier stock drivers were dealing with, and what some of the folks in the mini stocks were dealing with, including that big pile up again, which great great fan footage. Like, where would we be without fan footage this year? There has been so many great shots. Obviously, the drone footage is up as well, up on YouTube from Joe. So appreciate that. It's been it's been sad to think about the fact that Humberstone's coming to an end, but I'm really encouraged by the crowd that was there by all accounts. People showed up and showed out. That's impressive. That's awesome. Um, I don't want to say that I had sparse crowds when I was announcing there the last couple of years because there were some nights where it was decent, but you can tell that I think people appreciate the fact that this is something that's coming to an end, and it's important to be a part of. It's important to have that history, and so you were there to watch that history. So good on everybody who's been showing up, and keep showing up for those final five if you're in and around Humberstone Speedway, and make sure you come out for at least one to say goodbye to one of our Southern Ontario crown jewel facilities. The fact that we have so many racetracks was so cool for so long, and it sucks that we're going to lose one, but I guess frees up Sunday nights for some of us to go and watch other tracks, pay attention to other series. Heck, it'll we'll see how it plays out, but um, yeah, it was. I was glad that they had a good show and a good attendance, at least for that first night for us. Like I say, I'm excited to get back to Merrittville Speedway. Excited to talk to Cody McPherson. Let's just jump right into that one now because I woke up early on a Friday morning to record this one, so we can still try to get it out today for you guys. So that's enough of my yapping, and that's enough of the results, all that sort of stuff. Let's get into it. Cody McPherson coming up on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. Folks from Van Sickle Pet Value and PV on the Lane aren't just fans of your favorite four-legged friends, they are race fans too. That's why Jeff and Rhonda Riley, as well as their staff, have teamed up with Merrittville Speedway to make your race day experience more convenient. Race fans can now pick up tickets for race nights while grabbing the highest quality food, treats, toys, and accessories for their pets from the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls locations.
Beat the box office and the crowds. Their support of local racing doesn't just stop with you, the race fan. Catch the Van Sickle Pet Value PV on the Lane 4 cylinders racing at Merrittville Speedway throughout the 2024 season.
Check out Van Sickle Pet Value across from Best Buy and Walmart on 4th Avenue in St. Catharines, and PV on the Lane at the corner of Kayla Road and Lundy's Lane, Highway 20. All right, and joining me this week on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Good to have this guy back on for the first time since May of 22. It's Cody McPherson. Cody, how's it going this week?
Oh, it's going good. Thanks for having me back on. Didn't realize it's been that long.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we did like one of those like quick like pit interviews somewhere along the way beyond that. But yeah, it's good to catch up with you because it's been, I feel like all you've done since May of 22 when we caught up last is win. Like it's been borderline ridiculous the tear you've been on over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, it's been really good, especially this year. The start we've had is just, I can't even believe it, to be honest. But, we're just taking it one race at a time, and it's been going pretty good so far.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, let's start with just this past weekend. Obviously, had the rain out at Merrittville, which kind of ruined the triple header aspect of this West Tour swing that the sportsmen were on. But how good did it feel to get back to victory lane in the final season, winning the first of the final 5 at Humberstone?
Oh, it felt great, especially with it being the last All-Canadian. That was one of the races that I won all the big races, but it was a couple years ago. That was the last one I had to mark off the bucket list. I just never had any luck with the All-Canadian, but so we won the first one only like 3 years ago, and then I think that was the third All-Canadian win we've had. So it's nice to get the last ever All-Canadian. That's for sure.
And we talked a little bit off air about the track, and I know that was kind of one of the storylines of the weekend. But All in all, for the final five and for the conditions, I guess that Humberstone is under, what did you make of the track and the facility, and what do you expect for the rest of the season from that racetrack?
It was great to see a crowd. It was the best crowd I might have ever seen at Humberstone. It was a really good crowd. Pits were packed, so that was great. The track was smooth. It just got to be a little too dusty, and it wasn't as bad for us. I feel bad for the minis in the streets, stocks, the vintage cars. Um, they had a little worse. Luckily for us, the late models blew it off. But I think that's something. Uh, Terry, he's obviously going to hear about it on social media, and I think he'll make sure it's good to go for the final four.
So, and it's kind of funny too, because I feel like for all of us here in Southern Ontario, we're kind of spoiled. For somebody like yourself, where you go out there and you travel, you see a lot of different racetracks. Dust and visibility issues isn't necessarily an uncommon problem at some facilities, and that's just something that you guys adapt with and overcome, right?
Yeah, it happens quite a bit actually. You never want it to happen, but we're racing on dirt and things happen. So, like I said, he'll get it figured out. I'm sure the next four races there, he'll uh, he'll do his best to make sure it's good to go. And yeah, I have confidence in him.
And on Saturday nights, I mean, it's been pretty much the same story, same old situation for you. You've been crushing things out at Maryville Speedway. The last couple years, you got the track championships. You're undefeated there already this year so far to start in what's been a bit of an up and down season because of weather and kind of all over the place in terms of us getting starts and getting actual races in. But as far as how things are going on Saturday night, uh, talk to us about the competition level, because I feel like over the last 3 seasons in particular, we've seen a lot of drivers go out of the Sportsman Series, maybe go up to the 358s, go elsewhere, and a lot of drivers who are newer come in that has kind of changed who you've got to battle with on any given Saturday night.
Yeah, we do have a lot of rookies this year. Good young talent that's going to be good years to come. But you still got the same guy. You got Leslie Senna coming over, Bleach. You still got a good amount of cars and um, starting fifth. Well, we haven't had much handicap racing this year the way it's worked out, but the nights we do, we've been starting 15th. I know for my grandpa's race, we were 14th. So and all the cars being equal, that it's still tough to pass no matter who's in the cars. And um, yeah, we lost some guys that moved up, but it's still competitive as ever.
You mentioned the rookie class, and it's been actually kind of exciting. I find I've felt like the shows that the sportsman class, when you guys have been able to run on Saturday nights at Maryville, has been really fun. I felt like we're seeing a lot of new talent come through, and the sportsman guys are doing a great job putting on the show. Is there any one or two drivers, anybody who's maybe impressed you as you're working your way through the field, or where like, oh, that guy was really fast, or that guy was tough to pass? Like, I can't believe that. Was there any of these young talents that some of the fans should maybe watch out or pay more attention to that you've noticed?
Yeah, the two that really stick out for me right now would definitely be Jacob Chevalier. You know, I've watched that kid my whole life. Been parked beside Chad, been buddies with Chad, and he's just always had it in him. Um, whether it's racing his micro or just being in the pits. Like he always wanted to learn and work on it. And like 2 years ago in the pits, he'd be changing my tires and help me out. And so to see him jump in a car and have the success and not be afraid, I think you give him a year or two, he's going to be winning quite a few races. And Nigel, I cannot pronounce his last name, but I've been watching him in the rookie class at Ransomville. Um, I think it's time for him just to drop the rookie class and come race in the actual class because he's ready for it. And I think he's another one that you give him a couple years and um, he'll be winning some races as well.
Yeah, Nigel Pentecoski. I mean, he's so much great young talent. That's just two drivers, and they're two of the ones that I would say have stood out to me too as well. Seeing them on Saturday nights. Speaking of, you mentioned a little earlier ago your grandfather's race. It's been the last couple of years. You've had opportunities for some really special family moments that not every driver will get the chance to do. Take us back to first last year, because I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you about this on the show. But winning on the same night where your dad goes up on the Wall of Fame at Maryville, what was that like? And especially with the throwback car.
Yeah, it was that was special. I didn't even tell my dad I was doing the throwback. I kept it hidden in the garage. Uh, I had the body in Rick's one of Rick's vans, and then Saturday my mom made sure to take him out to the track early, and then we swapped the body real quick. And first time he saw it was when he walked into the grandstand, so that was special. And then to have all my family and friends there, I we got a lot of family, a lot of friends that show up, so it adds a lot of pressure, but I love I feed off the pressure. I love it. So it kind of helps me, and then just to win it was amazing.
Yeah, that was a really special night. I remember being pretty up in the booth, just being like, this is something super cool that we're not going to be able to see all of the time. It's just a certain family legacy that gets to be carried on, and it made it that much more special. We kind of almost got a repeat again for you this year with your grandfather's race. Talk to us about the memorial and talking about picking up that win, because that was again another special one for you guys.
Yeah, when the schedule came out in February or March, and I had no idea there was going to be an Al Wheeler Memorial. So when I seen it on the schedule, the first thing I did was screenshot it, send to Rick, and said that's the biggest race of the year. I didn't care if it paid a dollar or 1,000. I didn't care. I just Yeah, he's the one that bought me my first go kart. He's the one that got me started in this. He's the one that called me every morning after every race, no matter where I was racing, to see how I did and um, how I made out, and if I didn't win, why I didn't win. And always asked how much money I made. Um, so that one, I put so much pressure on myself, and then I missed the redraw that night, which I never really missed redraws. So I was rolling out 14th, and I'll never forget. Just they're doing the victory lane for the street stocks, and I was sitting there looking at this beautiful pink sky behind the grandstands, and I got teary eyed. Just there was a flood of emotions coming back, and I got so caught up in it when we went to take off, I forgot to put my glasses on, and they're rolling down the wing. Luckily, I was able to get them, but it just at that moment, I'm like, I have to win this race. Like it doesn't matter what it takes. I have to get through the pack and get up there and do everything I could to win it. And I was fortunate enough to do that.
Yeah, it was a special one. And it was a great effort by your family as well, as I understand. I mean, I read them. It's more than I understand. I think what you had every single lap of that race with one, if not multiple lap sponsors as well. Like, talk to us about. I don't know how much effort you had in that, or just was the entire Willard family. But talk to us about the lap sponsorship program that you guys put together for that night.
Yeah, so my aunt Tam wanted to do something special for the night. She knew she was going to add some money to the top three, but she wanted to do laps, and I was the one that said, "Well, if you're going to do laps, instead of just doing if you lead the lap, you get the money." I said, "I like how they do 1 to 10 position for each lap. You just draw a chip, and whoever is in that position on that lap gets that money. Because then that way, a guy running 10th, ninth, 8th, it's extra money for them." So it's nice to see that. It was nice. We got a lot of support. We sold a ton of laps, and Noah Mama was actually the big winner. James Little, I think it was 800, maybe a little over 800 for one lap in memory of his mom. And Noah Mama was the big winner of that one. So, James Little was a huge supporter of that, on top of the memorial race he did for his father. So, um, yeah, it's just the racing community coming together for everyone that knew my grandpa, which was a lot. And luckily, we were able to do $77 per lap minimum. And then, like you said, most of them were double sold. So,
Yeah, it was a really incredible night and really well done by your family and everybody who was a part of that and jumped on to be a sponsor of that. So, with the run this weekend, you clinch another Western Tour title, by my understanding, and you break the tie with Brad Rouse for all-time wins. Now you got 20 on that dirt car tour. I feel like the conversations kind of got to start to be had, but where do you feel you rank amongst all-time sportsman performers? I know it's so hard with so many different racetracks, and there's so many guys that we here in Southern Ontario might not have even heard of, let alone see race. But are you starting to feel like you're climbing the ranks of an all-time sportsman driver?
To be honest, I don't ever really think about that. I just go race to race. I just like to win. I try to win obviously every race I'm in and give it my best. And um, I don't ever get too high in this sport or too low. I used to when I first started racing, and I've learned that gets you nowhere. So I just try to, you know, stay the same way for every race, no matter what it is. And I don't think about myself as being one of the top runners. I just show up trying to win whatever race it is that we're going to that night, and go from there.
Do you have any kind of like program or anything beyond the racetrack though? Last year I got to know and got to hang around a lot with Mike Bowman and got to see him study his runs, use the video footage that G-Force provided, use stuff like onboard cameras to kind of study his lines, and that really seemed to help him, especially towards the end of the year, racing in the 360 sprint cars. But what about yourself? What is preparation? What is setup? What does it take outside of being at the racetrack to get yourself to be as competitive and as successful as you are in a sportsman?
Yeah, you hear it all the time, but the races are won in the shop. We spend a lot of time. As when I say we, Rick is it's just me and him. He goes through. We have two cars. He goes through both of them every week. If there's something bent, broken thing, he will find it. He will see it, and we'll have it fixed. Like today, we were in the shop. He found right rear axle or rear tube was bent, and we had it replaced. And so I never have to worry about a parts failure or worry that something might not be 100% because he's on it, and it lets me focus on siping tires, grinding tires. Tires alone just it takes a ton of work. We're always just sanding, grinding, siping, grooving. Um, it takes time, and I can focus on that while he's nut and bolting the car, and then I always scale the race cars, and we make sure everything is 100% dialed in and perfect before we even hit the racetrack, because that's what it takes, and that's why we win as many races as we do.
Yeah, it's all about that preparation. I actually had the chance because I knew you were coming on this week to put it out to the fans of the show to get some kind of fan questions. I'm going to start with the first one from David Murdoch on Instagram, who said that he wanted to know if you'd like to try driving a sprint car at all. Does that appeal to you down the road?
Yeah, actually, I would. From what I've been told, uh, they're pretty easy. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to just go out and win, but driving wise, with the big wing, they're um, when we go from our type of cars to the crate sprints, I'm talking, they're just so dialed into the racetrack that someone said you wouldn't have as much fun. But I like to try it, see what it's like for myself. I think if I wanted to do it, I'd like to do a 360 just to try that speed. And you see Bowman ripping the top in Westbrook and those guys. It looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could say that. I could see that. I could definitely see you stepping in the sprint car world and having quite a lot of success. Now, this probably doesn't surprise you, but the most popular question, this came in four different times, including from your
Let me
own
guess.
sportsman competitor,
When am I moving
Taylor
up?
Van Der Zanden. Yeah, exactly. There
Yeah.
it is. When are you moving up to modified,
If I had a
Taylor?
dollar, if I had a dollar for every time I heard that this
You'd
year,
probably be racing modified.
yeah, yeah, exactly. No, it's not that we don't want to. We've thought about it lots of times, but um, right now, to run Merrittville, you see it. You need the Wagner. You need the sail panels if you want to really compete and give it your best shot at winning. And there's a reason why at Ransomville, Gary now has an open motor. And for me, I don't want to race just one night a week. I like racing multiple times a week. I can travel with the sportsman. We have two 5,000 win shows this year, or no, sorry, 4 or 5,000 win shows this year. 10,000 a win. We had the 4,000 at Merrittville. Um, there's just so many big races for the sportsman, and yeah, I just don't want to be stuck just at Merrittville. I can't afford to do two, like a Wagner and an open 358. Um, and for me, I can get the time off work to make these weekday sportsman shows. So that's why I haven't moved up. I'd like to, but it's just, I understand why the other guys like Sharpie, he was just running Saturday nights. James Michael, he has a hard time getting off work during the summer. So for him just to run Saturday nights and move up, Jay Mallory was just kind of running Saturday nights. So like it works out good for those guys. And I wish I could do it, but I love traveling. Rick loves traveling. The two of us just hit the road and go to these shows. And um, yeah, so I think when I'm ready to kind of slow down on racing, traveling, that's when I'll move up. But yeah, just the one night a week, that's just not enough for me.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's actually a really good way to look at it. I think a lot of people are always going to the dollars and cents of it all first and foremost. But you make a great point about being able to get out on the road. And that's what running the sportsman program allows you to do. Has there been one facility that you've maybe enjoyed more than any other one in terms of your travel where you're looking ahead at the calendar and you're like, oh, sweet, the dirt car tour is there. Like, oh, I gotta hit that race, or oh, this one's a big money. I gotta hit that. Is there something on the calendar
Uh,
behind the close ones that we expect you to hit?
yeah, well, it's close, but I love Ohsweken. That is
Yeah.
my favorite by far. I always enjoy going to Weed Sport, but last year we went to Devil's Bowl twice, and it's in Vermont. It's a drive, but it's the ultimate crate racing racetrack. It's slick top to bottom. It's like driving on black ice the whole night. Doesn't rubber up, so it's easy on tires, but you have to be dialed in. It's the crates, they're meant to be on slick tracks. That's when you get the best races. And we went there for a 5,000 win show and a 10,000 win show, and it was the best racing that I've had.
Couple more for you here. You're one of the drivers who does a pretty good job of promoting yourself, your racing, and updating fans on finishes and where you're going to be through social media. So, first, I wanted to give you the opportunity for those of us that may know of you but don't necessarily follow you on social media. Where you have accounts right now, and where's the best place to keep up with Cody McPherson's racing career?
Yeah, I can't take any credit for that. I had it, I had it last year, and I was terrible at updating it, and just I, my post didn't make sense. So my girlfriend, she took over this winter. My girlfriend Tamara, and she's been doing a hell of a job. So we have Cody McPherson Racing on Instagram and Facebook is what she updates everything on there, and she tries to just keep everyone updated on the night where we're gonna be, or where we're running, where we're starting, and then during the week she'll let everyone know where we're racing. So yeah, I got to give credit to her for that. It's something I wanted to improve on this year, just because it's good for the sponsors, good for exposure. You got to take advantage of social media these days. Um, to get your name and that out there, and your sponsors out there. So yeah, luckily she stepped up and took it over, and she's doing a really good job.
You mentioned the sponsors. For as long as I've been watching your racing career and watching regularly at Maryville and announcing, you have always had maybe some of the sharpest designs in the field. I mean, last year I called you the black and green winning machine, almost like it looked like a gravedigger monster truck or something out there.
Yeah,
This year, Fran's been calling you the red and black attack. I really like what you got going on with that look of the race car, but talk to us about the designs of the race car. Where are you getting those from? Who's doing those wraps and those designs for you?
yeah. We always try to do something different. This year, the red one is almost the same as a few years ago, but I had to go back to the Willard red for my grandpa. Um, so I made sure to have the red, but the teal one that we brought out for Dirt Week, I just was like, what's a color no one really uses? And I'm like, teal. I haven't seen that very often. I'm sure there has been, but it's not a common one. So I just try to do opposite. Like, they always told me green was bad luck in racing, so I was like, well, I'm gonna try it anyway, see what happens. And yeah, Auto Effects, Tim, he's been doing everything since I started racing go karts when I was 5. So it's always been Tim, and he probably gets sick and tired of me because he'll send an email with the design, and it takes about 20 of those before I'm okay with it. I always got little changes and tweaks and that, but yeah, we just try to do something different, something uh, that not everyone's seen, and they seem to like the gold diamond plating that we put in the numbers. Fans, especially up in like Cornwall area, Quebec area, they really like that. So yeah, just like I said, just try to do something different.
That's awesome. I'll get one more for you here, Cody, and it's kind of like the new question we're asking everybody here. I know you've been on the road, you've been to a lot of racetracks, you've seen a lot of different facilities. I'm going to give you an unlimited plot of land and an unlimited budget to build your perfect dirt facility somewhere, anywhere in Southern Ontario. What tracks are you borrowing from? What does it look like? What are the blueprints made of in terms of combining multiple tracks, or maybe just
Ooh.
reprinting one track to make your perfect facility?
I'd be taking a lot of Ohsweken, their pits, um, their lighting. Um, I like Weed Sports Victory Lane and Victory Hill. It's the coolest victory lane I've seen. Um, I'd take Devil's Bowl surface, like I said, because Cray Racing is slick. And I'd do it a lot closer to home. So I'd do it somewhere here, somewhere that would take over after Humberstone closes because we need another track in the area. But yeah, I'd take a little bit of Weed Sport, a little bit of Schwiegen, and Devil's Bowl surface, that's for sure.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time this week for us, Cody. Good luck the rest of the way. Keep up the winning ways and keep up being a leader in the sportsman division and representing not just Southern Ontario on the road, but representing Maryville Speedway in a strong, strong way for us.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate what you're doing for the sport. It's a good way of just getting more exposure, getting more out there. It's good for sponsors. It's good for everyone. So thanks for what you're doing. Keep it up, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, Cody. There he is, Cody McPherson on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show presented by Ohsweken Speedway and Bicknell Racing Products. Like what you hear, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us on Facebook at Southern Ontario Dirt Show or find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SODS_pod. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.